Hello, friends and extended family. I wanted to do a little upgrade on things. I did a video the other day about the hierarchy of adoption, whereas someone was trying to say that they were feeling feeling dejected by the adoptee community because they were adopted within their family, and I pointed out to the person. I said, well, here it is. I mean, there's different levels of trauma that are allowed. I mean, is an adopted person someone who gets, as an adult, their parent dies, and their remaining parent um, remarries and has a nice significant other that adopts the child as an adult or as an older person. Is that the same as, say, for example, um, someone who was adopted right at birth? And the answer is no. I mean, you are not missing out on a whole bunch of those things. And the person went ahead and was kind of rude about it and said, I can empathize with anyone. I don't think so. Yeah, sorry. Sorry, not sorry, but I don't believe that to be the case, as many adoptees will tell you that non-adopted persons don't understand what it is to be adopted. They can't empathize with it. And I don't know, besides, like I said, a few people like maybe Nancy Berrier, who adopted a child and saw the struggle and picked up on it. But at the same token, for the most part, adoptees that are adopted at birth, people don't get it. They don't understand it. They seem to be under the impression that we are blank slates and that somehow we didn't remember, so blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's different scenarios. And, people who are looking to be victims coming into adoptee groups, like that one lady who was adopted as an adult by two people she invited to adopt her in her church, and then came in the group shortly thereafter trying to talk about adoption with us. What do you know about adoption? Nothing. You didn't get to grow up wondering who your parents were and going through the psychological confusion about not knowing your origins, etc., etc., etc. So it's a ridiculous argument. Certainly, anyone can have trauma by the people that raised them. Anyone can. Natural people can too, but it's not the same thing. So people like that just make me, scratch my head. As an AA person, someone who went through the 12 steps and had some pretty horrific stories with alcohol and that sort of thing, it was sort of a pet. There was a meme that went around in the groups, and it's a picture of an old lady, and she says, I think the meme said something along the lines of, had one drink 20 years ago and realized they were an alcoholic and came and did the steps, and she's gone 20 years without a relapse, and so can you. It's that person that realized they were an alcoholic from their first drink and then went into AA and did the 12 steps and recovered. It's hard to relate with that kind of person if you're in a support group when you've suffered horribly through alcoholism. So it's putting things in perspective a bit. And then you have these people that want everybody to be included as a victim somehow. Like, should everyone be included in the adoptee forums? No. So the other thing I wanted to bring up today was the continued attempts in our groups to police and sway language. So here was one I caught today. Excuse me. Smoker's cough's back. I have a pet peeve of saying adoptive parents. Literally just me saying it. It feels like I'm degrading the parents I have now, who sure as hell have done more for me than my biological parents ever have or will. How about the fact that you exist? How about your existence is based on your biological parents? How about your DNA is based on your biological parents? How about without those things, you wouldn't be here at all? So this is just a person trying to sway towards pro-adoption. And you can tell because they're messing with language. And adoptive parents. So again, I don't care what you call your adoptive parents. I don't care what you call your biological parents. Quit suggesting that I should somehow respect your pet peeve. I don't care about your pet peeve. Sorry. You call your parents what you want. Okay? That's the deal. I don't care if you call them anything under the sun your parents. I don't care. But don't tell me what I need to call mine. Don't tell me what language I need to use in these forums. Because all you're doing is trying to be divisive when you're doing this, when people are doing this. And when you see this sort of crap, call it out. Call it out. Anybody trying to police language is simply trying to divide the group into two parts, pro-adoption versus anti-adoption, etc. Right? And they're trying to divide. And this divisiveness needs to go. So this person got blocked by me instantly. I just blocked them. We're done. In fact, I'll often go through the thread and find a bunch of other people trying to agree with the language policing, and I'll block them too. Get rid of these people out of your life. I'm on a 7-day suspension from Facebook, which I'm hoping we can maybe turn into permanent, because I'm getting sick and tired of this ridiculousness. Because in an adoption group, and we know how brutal the family courts are for adoption, I said in some brutal case about the family courts, because they seem to be becoming more and more corrupt every day, I said they should burn them down. And when I say they, I mean the people who erected them. The people who erected the family courts should tear them down, dismantle them. They should be gotten away with. We need to get away from this nanny state crap. People need to take responsibility for their families again. The DNA thing is going to change that whole scenario. There's no more hiding behind adoption. Okay, your DNA is going to tell you who your parents are. End of story. It's all coming out. So let's get rid of it. Anyway, so those are just a couple of my pet peeves for the day. We're having a bit of a heat stroke or a heat wave, and what can we expect with that? Well, we can expect now that we're supposedly July 1st, we're going to be getting back our ability to go outside or visit with people and lift some restrictions, supposedly. But it's come to my attention that now it's going to be back to the global warming, environmental catastrophe people. And you'll see your governments restricting your power flow, your water flow, all these things, creating more barriers to life, etc., etc. It's getting frustrating. It's getting annoying. And hopefully the few of you that watch me are picking up on this stuff. So the language police are bad. Anybody who is a bigot is bad. And when I say bigot, I don't mean people running around calling people heteronormative because they happen to be normal statistically, or homophobic because they're not having sex with the same-sex people, or whatever it may be. If you're a normal individual who just is trying to go about your life, the world is at war with you. And we have to put an end to it. The whole virtue signaling thing, block them. When you see someone virtue signaling on behalf of someone else, oh, I have a friend that's adopted and they'd be offended. Block. You're done. Block these people. Quit the groups. Get out of them. Be proactive with you have this social media, you can block people, you can get off it, whatever it may be. And I think part of the fact that I started smoking again probably has to do with the fact that I've been pulling away from social media. And that's addictive too. It's hitting those dopamine centers, etc. So today's a bit of a rant. I think it's like plus 37 out already, and it's 4:20. So go ahead and smoke your chiba out there. You know, do what you need to do to get by, but you know, we really need to start figuring out right from wrong. And it's becoming more and more obvious. If you're part of a group that calls all men patriarchy, if you're part of a group that calls all people transphobes, if you're part of a group that calls people the bourgeoisie, then you're involved in Marxism and communism. And we know what they want. They want to destroy the West, and they want everyone to live in a despotic, brutal, 1984 crossbreed with Brave New World. And it's yeah, I'm not interested. It's a world of lies and censorship and tippy-toeing around the truth, and I'm not interested. So those are just a few of my things to keep an eye out for. And again, like I said, when we're looking to lay blame, remember your neighbors, your people living in your community, etc. They're brainwashed by the TV. They don't know any better. It's not your job to educate them, but at the same token, I mean, you know, look up and see the people that are doing this, that are pulling the strings, see the ideologies, how they work. If you haven't watched the Yuri Bezmenov video on communism and how active measures works in a community, then go watch it. It's about an hour and a half long. It explains everything that came out of the Soviet Union and how these KGB communist agents went in and subverted and infiltrated. You know, there's the bigger story of the Frankfurt School and all these things. You know, take a look at Sigmund Freud and how him and his nephew basically, you know, turned the West into a bunch of white lab rats that could be used for any toxic marketing company like Big Tobacco, etc. I mean, the information's out there, and I've certainly gobbled up and absorbed a lot of it. And ignorance is bliss, for sure. I got involved in politics in 2015 to try and understand what was going on, and I can tell you I'm sickened by the whole venture. You know, it's gone from rhetoric to blatant lies. And we are now in a state where, you know, you can barely believe the mainstream media. They're about as worth as far as you could throw them. And, you know, we have to get back to reality because our reality's been hijacked and they're trying to flip it on its head and make you all think you're insane. And you know, unfortunately, anybody who is absolutely dependent on the television to tell them what to think, they're already gone.